Good evening. Welcome to Falls from Iron on this bank holiday Monday. Duke, you're shaking your head disapprovingly. Yeah, we'll get into that. But please don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, to like, comment on and share the stream. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the bell icon for alerts on new content. As always, guys, we thank you very much indeed for your support. Talk to me, Duke. Get it off your chest.
Can I?
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing, Rob. It amazes me. Okay. So I was talking about the couple of incidences in yesterday's game.
Mm-hmm.
That's my fault. I was late. I had some issues in the pub with fucking idiots. So we got into a conversation of the Jared Bowen incident yesterday. And I don't want to talk about this out of turn, but I'm going to park the Jared Bowen incident there and talk about something that was attached to it.
Okay.
Talking to a Liverpool fan, and I've mentioned this before on a stream. Not Paul, Scouse Kev, as he's known in the pub.
Hey.
This is one of the Liverpool fans that I talk about when I say that they're spoiled pricks, Rob. You know, their history and everything else, and they feel like everything should be theirs and everything else, right? So spoke to him today, and we were talking about the Jared Bowen incident and how I felt the goalkeeper should have been sent off for contact in a penalty area. And I brought up the incident with Anthony Gordon and Joel Matip last week in the derby, and how I thought it was a penalty, and the fact that Gordon was booked for diving. Now, he showed me the picture of Anthony Gordon as he's running. He treads on Joel Matip's foot.
Yep.
Matip is running as well at full tilt. He treads on his foot, and as Matip lifts his foot up to run, Gordon goes over. Well, penalty, because he's disrupted his running process. Okay, I don't care. Grealish got a penalty for Aston Villa for the exact same thing last year. Okay, he trod on someone else's foot, throws himself to the floor, gets a penalty. The difference between the Grealish one, I feel, and the Gordon one is that Grealish looked where the player's foot was to tread on his foot to go over. Because as the player goes to move his foot, he drags Grealish's foot with him, and Grealish obviously loses balance.
Yep.
Grealish gets a penalty. I then turned around and I asked Scouse Kev in the pub, the jumped up prick, if that was at the other end, you are screaming blue murder. You are screaming that it's a penalty. You're screaming for the defender to be sent off because it's a deliberate foul. Yet you can't concede that if it's at the other end, it's a penalty against your mighty club. And he goes, no, it's not a penalty. I went, but if that's a penalty there, if that's a penalty,
yeah, you have to be fair and even-handed over it, don't you?
Now, for me, I've watched the Jared Bowen incident back, and I'm talking about it out of turn.
You are.
Sorry,
you've started now.
I do this. I find
I've
something.
noticed.
I find something that irks me in a game, and I tend to run with it. Let us out.
Record it. Send it in to us. We want to see it.
I've watched it back several times, Rob. And who's the ball referee? Is it Dermot Gallagher on Sky?
Yes, he does. He does jump on the Sky. Yeah.
I missed it this morning. Someone pointed it out to me, and I didn't get to turn it up in time. So I'm a bit pissed off because I would love to have seen what he had to say about. If anyone knows what he said, people in the chat.
I know what Mark Housey said.
I know what Mark Housey said. And listen, he was reckless. Yes, it is. It was reckless. He was out of control. You can't tell me that was a controlled tackle. His leg was about 2 foot off the floor. 6 studs were showing towards the knee, not even towards the shin or the ankle of Jared Bowen. He was up at his knee level.
Yep.
His foot was outstretched. I'm telling you now, he makes
Hey, Mark.
if Bowen plants his foot where he should plant his foot, we'll cover that in a second.
I'll tell you what, I'll star that comment. I'll come back to that, Steve.
And try and find the news report.
That's what I'm looking for. Yeah.
Look, there's another one now I'm going to start at. Trudge, I thought we booked the keeper, right? I thought we booked the keeper. Let's not. If he'd put his foot down, that would have hit him in the knee, and his knee would have bent the wrong way. It would have gone sideways rather than bending like a normal knee. It would have gone that way. Goalkeeper was reckless. Goalkeeper was out of control. It was a dangerous challenge that could have, it did endanger a fellow professional. Now,
yep.
If I'm right in thinking, do the laws not state that a reckless, out of control tackle that endangers another player on the pitch is a red card?
It's all about intent, isn't it?
Well,
that's the thing. I mean, look, if it was an outfield player,
he's lifted his leg to bring the player down.
Yep.
That's intentional. The studs were up. He's reckless. He's out of control. It's a red card. But it wasn't a red card because it was Mike Dean and it was one of the big 6.
Yeah, I mean, Mark Halsey, as Walshy says here, says that it wasn't a red card. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Hang on. I am going to share this with the class. I'll just remove that comment and get rid of that banner. And yeah, look, Mark, blimey.
So I was just getting the video of little Fridge.
Oh dear.
I can't put it online, Rob, because the little baby isn't wearing a top.
That's all right. No problem.
I'm not going to put it out there.
But yeah, this piece says West Ham star Jared Bowen has earned praise from former Premier League referee Mark Halsey for the way he handled his incident with Arsenal goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale yesterday. Halsey made it clear that he felt Bowen and West Ham had every right to feel they should have had a free kick in that situation, even if Bowen was honest and insisted Ramsdale didn't touch him. Now, but Bowen never, he was honest. He turned around and said, ref, he didn't touch me.
It's a career-ending tackle,
he didn't try and hide that fact. He didn't. But fundamentally, if Bowen hadn't have taken evasive action, potentially he's out for the remainder of the season, possibly the beginning of next. And in a worst-case scenario, maybe even ends his career if it goes horribly, horribly wrong.
If he smashes his knee like I envisioned when I watch, listen, I know the outcome. Okay, I know the outcome.
I know you do.
I've watched several incidences from different angles, different cameras, up high, down low, inside out. So I've watched them all since this happened. I'm telling you now, if he hits him, it is such a reckless challenge that, listen, we saw an innocuous challenge in the video of one of what could have been our greatest striker in Dean Ashton. An innocuous challenge in training for England, broke his ankle, he was never the same. That is right.
Well, what I was going to go on and say,
it's a broken leg and a dislocated knee.
If there's an outfielder that with an opposition in close proximity with the ball, let's just say jumps up and goes both feet, studs up in the general direction of the player with the ball, and the player sees that player coming, jumping in, and knows that if he catches me, he's breaking my leg, and that player takes evasive action, and the contact doesn't happen. But that's still dangerous play.
Well, as Robert says next as well, the indirect free kick rule, it impeded the progress of the player running because he had to
get out of the way.
Evasive action, not even just taking action. He had to take evasive action to, in my opinion, save his career. So I'm telling you now, that could have been a career changer, a career ender.
Yeah,
If he lifts his
certainly
knee,
save him from injury.
His
At the very least.
knee's meant to bend that way, yeah? That's why his knee would have bent that way. If that had hit him, his knee's going that way, Rob. And I don't care. I don't care. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I love the man. He's perfect. Mr. Kent underneath. It's spot on.
Seen that. Yeah.
10%
Can't disagree.
It was self-preservation for Bowen, and Bowen's been punished for saving his career. I don't understand it.
No.
As I said yesterday, Rob, when we were having a little discussion, and I'll say it again now. Put it on the Forged Twitter page, and I'll say it again for those that weren't on the quick impromptu video that we did last night. It makes it very hard to argue against Big Six bias when we see I'm going to say 4 or 5, maybe even 6 things yesterday. Okay. Talk about the Anthony Gordon penalty for Everton. It's when you see things like that, it's very difficult to argue against any kind of bias towards the top 6: Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man U, Man City, however you want to work it in there. Okay, it's very difficult. They want those clubs to finish in those 6 or 7 places. They want them to.
That statement I do agree with.
Regardless, they want them to. Sky and the Premier League. Because as I was having a conversation downstairs with someone earlier. If Heung-min Son, for instance, okay, didn't play for Spurs, would Spurs have a huge South Korean following? Probably not. Probably not.
Possibly not. Yeah.
Right. Liverpool have a large Egyptian following because of Mohamed Salah. Okay, you can't.
Yes.
I'll tell you now, if Salah leaves, those Egyptian following would probably follow Salah. Okay, that's just how it works. Okay,
we probably have a fairly large contingent of Algerian fans, I would argue.
Yes, we of course we do. We have a large contingent of Argentinian fans because of how they went. That's
fans of the club vicariously through the player. Because I'm not being funny. As soon as Said Benrahma and Manuel Lanzini move on from West Ham, I dare say they won't give us a second look.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. So when it comes to, and let's be honest, when it comes to especially Far Eastern, again, spot on. You have to have a history in Europe to be able to qualify for European competition. How the fuck does that work? Anyway, we'll cover that in a talk show, Rob.
We may just do that.
No, we're going to.
Trying to think. We need an idea for a talk show, Duke.
Go on. Cheers, Ken. Listen, if
I remember that, Walshy, yes.
There is a large contingent of Premier League fans that follow Premier League football because of certain players that play for certain clubs. Like I say, Heung-min Son, huge basis of fans come from South Korea. City and United have a huge following in China. Now, I don't know whether that's anything to do with, just because Jisung Park and you see what I mean, and these other players.
Yeah, they're from that part of the world.
That part of the world. Takahiro
Tomiyasu.
Yeah, him. We were talking about this last night. No, we're not doing that this evening.
Thank God.
And so there's a lot of money that comes from abroad. There's a lot of money that comes from abroad for the Premier League, and a lot of it. Well, listen, it all comes from those perceived Man U, Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs. Yeah, the Big Six, as they're called. They've already tried to fuck off and create their own Super League. So the Premier League and Sky will want to try and do as much as they can to keep these guys happy, because if they walk out like they threaten to do, takes a significant amount of money away from the Premier League. It takes a significant amount of money away from Sky Sports, because they're not going to be watching what's left as such. Real fans will. Real fans will. There's no two ways about that. I personally think I would love to do what I've discussed before with the baseball subscription service of X amount of money per month. You can watch your club's games for X amount of money a month. You can watch any game and bin off fucking Sky Sports, bin off BT Sports. Because they're one of the major problems for Premier League football, or for football in general, because we don't allow, we can't develop the other clubs in the Football League. I'm not being funny. If Luton fans were given the option, because they don't go to the games because they live elsewhere now, we're given an option to subscribe for £20 a month to be able to watch their club's games. I'm telling you now, they'd take it. And if all of that money went back into the club, Luton would be able to develop that ground that's not, you don't have to go through someone's fucking front room to get into the main stand, right?
Find that quite comical.
I love it. I think it's amazing. And the fact that could be in the Premier League next season makes it even better. But there is a bias. And because of this, teams like West Ham, who are obviously fighting for the 7th place or the 6th place still, Wolves fighting for that, Leicester, Newcastle, they're thereabouts at the minute. We'll come back to that. We might make a talk show about that. They're going to do anything they can. And what I saw yesterday, and I was there yesterday and I watched it, what I saw on TV for the Liverpool game and what I've seen all fucking season and last season. I mean, was it last season or the season before where James Milner was about 27 yards offside?
Oh, that's about 3 seasons ago now, I think.
You telling me that if that had been the other way round, that wouldn't have been spotted, considering that we can find a toenail clipping offside on Harry Kane's left bollock, but we couldn't see him a £17 cab journey offside at the London Stadium 3 years ago, right? Anything that there is, you call it an unconscious bias, Rob, don't you?
I do. I don't think there's some Machiavellian plot where the sort of like the Premier League have actually actively said to referees, if there's a 50-50, give it to the big 6
I'm beyond that. I actually think after what I've seen, especially for some of the real dodgy decisions this season, and we were on the receiving end of several of them yesterday in favour of fucking Arsenal, that tell me that it's not unconscious anymore. They know exactly what they're doing. And it bugs me because we're suffering from it.
Yeah, no, I get that. I
personally think we were good enough for 3 points yesterday. From what I watched, I think we were good enough for 3 points yesterday. I thought Fabianski made some stunning saves. Fantastic shots.
Yeah, can't disagree with that.
Like brilliant down low, one-handed saves that, I think there were 3 that were heading inside the post. He gets down and puts a banging hand on them. But I really do think we were good enough for the 3 points. I really, really do.
Do you think that, and we'll obviously come to the player ratings down the track, but do you think that the loss due to suspension of Craig Dawson was a massive blow to us? Because obviously it's not lost on me the fact that both of those goals were at the end result of a corner set piece, crosses into the box, and obviously with Craig Dawson being there, he would have been a presence that would have interrupted. Do you know what I mean?
I think he would have organised the defending from set pieces significantly better than what already is. Okay. What we saw yesterday was a very weak first goal to concede, and it was a very weak goal to concede. It was a corner that was put in, and it was a floated header because it was at the end I was at, Rob, and it was a floated header that just snuck inside the near post. sorry, the far post. Now,
Yeah.
part of me is like, well, if Dawson, as Kent says, if Dawson's there, he heads both of them away on the initial process, if you want. Okay. Yeah, again, Ken, I promise you we'll cover this. Me and Rob will sit down after this and we might do a video in the next couple of days based around that because it's pissing me off. But also on the flip side of it, Dawson marshals the defence. Someone would have picked up Holding for that first one. He kind of came ghosting in. And it is a very floopy header. That's the only way I can describe it. It was a floopy header. It kind of just floated into the back post. But also on the flip side of that, where are your postal defenders? I grew up and you had a man on the front and back post at corners. I don't care what's changed. You had that. Not being funny, when they scored from their corner, I said to Grace, my daughter, and to anyone that was in probably a 20-chair earshot of me that would listen, where the fuck is our outlet? Every single West Ham player was back inside our 18-yard box. We had no outlet up by the halfway line or on the centre circle. No one. Every single player was inside our box and we still couldn't defend that corner properly, Rob, because they scored from it.
I don't know. This comment from Hammerhead, and again, I respect everybody's opinions, and the world isn't you're all going to agree with everyone, but I think Fabianski had a good game. But I will concede the point. That his distribution was very frustrating. He gets the ball and it's like, come on, just get a move on. Let's set the ball, set the attack going the other way. And he hangs on to it. And it's like, we're 2-1 down. Come on.
I don't put that on Fabianski. I put that on the fact that the players don't fucking move quick enough for him, Rob. I saw it yesterday, and especially in the first half. He'd get the ball. Thank you, Walshy. I did say it loud enough. You were only about 12 seats back and over. It's all right. Literally, I screamed, oh, mate. Some poor geezer 4 rows in front of me ended up with a mouthful of, or back of head full of saliva as I screamed cunt at the fucking geezer. And spit shot out of my mouth. Grace was pissing herself. He's trying to release that ball early, Rob. To the point in the second half, Nketiah, and by the way, I've changed my mind. Don't want that fucker anywhere near my club.
Why?
He's a cunt. Oh, no. And if I was Declan Rice, I don't care whether his mum's fed me jalfrezi. I wouldn't have given him a muck. I would have smacked him straight on the end of his nose.
You don't think he would next season be a benefit to us?
No.
Okay.
Pardon my French. Right. She's barred. He's trying to release the ball. Like I say, especially in the second half. And Nketiah and Saka went and stood in front of him when he had the ball in his hands, especially from corners. Yep. They went and stood in his face because he couldn't release the ball quick enough then.
But they're probably under orders from Arteta for that.
Yes, they were, because that's what he was trying to do in the second half. He was trying to get the ball, bowl it out, underarm to left and right backs, get it out to Zuma or to Cresswell to get the attack going. But 9 times out of 10, the players have either got their backs to him or are just dawdling around. And that's what affected our attack a lot sooner than, Fabianski holding on to it too long. Not quite, Pete. That's what affected our attack for this game. And this is all we're talking about. This game that's what's affected our attack. Not that he was holding on to the ball, it's that the players look either a lack of interest in it or there was a lack of interest from the players, or he was blocked off. It had nothing to do with him not wanting to release the ball quick enough.
Fair enough. Right. Okay. So let me just press that button and just get the stats up.
Do me a favour. Go back one more.
Hang on. This one.
Yeah. Says a lot. We can go forward now. I was going to pick up on that. I didn't realise it was so few, but we'll come back to that.
What, the dispossessed?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I know where you're heading.
I actually thought it was more. I'm not going to lie. So to see it actually being quite a low number, but still the most in the West Ham shirt.
But see, then here's where I'm at. First half, I thought we were really good. I thought we were playing some good stuff, and that's has to be viewed through the prism of we've got a left back playing left centre back in a back four for, as far as I'm concerned, the first time in his career. I know he's played on the left of a back three of centre backs, but that's a different sort of dynamic. He was played as a left centre back in a back four. You had a right back by trade played at left back. We had Mark Noble, who's shortly going to be retiring, in central mid alongside Declan Rice. And it has to be said, I actually think that Mark Noble played really well. I thought he played really well. In fact, I'd probably give him a new contract just on that. No, I wouldn't. No, that's me being heart ruling head. But he had a good game. But we've got the game on Thursday. We've got the game on Thursday coming. Players out, having to put square pegs in round hole. And that first half, I thought we played really well. The second half, for whatever reason, whether it was tiredness, whether it was just a lack of quality at key moments, I don't think we were quite the same in the second half. Is that how you read it?
I thought we were a better team in the first half.
Yep.
By a considerable margin. Mm-hmm. Now, they went 1-0 up. I've started a couple of messages, Rob. So
yes, I'm going to leave them for...
Yeah. We were the better side in the first half, apart from, obviously, their goal. Now, I'm going to start that one, so I'm going nowhere near that.
There's guys that are in the live chat. There are going to be a few comments that Duke's starring and we're sitting on for a minute. So please don't think, if your comment doesn't come up, please don't think we're ignoring you. We're
coming back
in reserve. Yeah.
I sat there, and again, I don't know if she heard me, but with 10, 15 minutes of the half to play, in fact, it was about 5 minutes before we struck the equaliser. They'd parked the bus, Rob.
Mm-hmm.
Arsenal parked the bus after their first goal. All right. It was embarrassing.
Yep.
That they'd gone 1-0 up away from home against the side that, you know, is playing regular European football right now. Mm-hmm. These guys had 8 days rest between games. We had 4. 3, 4, 3, 4, 3. 2.5 if you want to be facetious.
Yeah.
And they parked the bus. And I was getting frustrated that this Arsenal side had parked the bus. They're 1-0 up. They consider themselves, and their fan base are toxic. We'll come back to that. They're awful, horrid. Anyway, not as bad as Liverpool, but second half, we came out. They scored their goal, and once again, they shut up shop.
Yeah, 54th minute, Gabriel.
They didn't want to go looking.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want to go looking. I think we made our substitution for Antonio was about 10 minutes too late. I would have bought him on around the 60th minute mark. We waited until 72. No, Peter, afraid not. I'm not going to agree on that one.
I will agree with Crowell. I think
yes.
The jury's out on Vlasic. I think the jury's out. I haven't made my mind up.
Obviously, we're not seeing something. I'm going to quickly. Oh, you're not having that one.
Okay, fair enough.
And also, can I just? How in God's green fucking earth can me and my daughter, not get a bottle of Coke from the concession stand with a fucking lid on it? Yet they can get fucking flares in to throw them onto the pitch. Yet I can't get a bottle lid so I don't spill my Coke.
playing devil's advocate, I'm going to say it's because was this a bottle that you were buying from within the stadium?
No, this was a bottle that we bought outside the stadium and got to the checkpoint Charlie, and they made me take the lid off.
Probably because, yeah, you were probably honest, whereas the guy with the flare has probably stuck it in his inside pocket. And we know but we know that the search as you go in is crap.
Because that is going to cause some serious fucking issues. If that accidentally goes off in his pocket, there are people that are going to get severely fucking injured. We already know that our security, our stewards, and everything else are a bunch of. I'll tell you what. Logan's school friends could do fucking better at the security at London Stadium, and they're 7.
Oh, they're useless.
Useless is polite and dog shit.
They just wave their hands around you they wave this fucking wand at you, and then
I don't even think the batteries are working on them.
Exactly. I'm not. I've never seen a light flash. I've never seen anything beep or heard anything beep.
Sorry. Yeah, well, this depends where she's going to put it.
Right.
Anyway,
yeah, that's true. That's true.
But where, like, I'm not being funny, right? Where are your dogs?
Your dags.
Where are your dogs? Where are your sniffers? Because I tell you now, that wouldn't happen. Because the dogs would lose their fucking mind at the first scent. Gunpowder, any of like whatever's in them flares, and they do have them. Let's not fucking lie, because they have them at the finals and the big games. It happens. Yeah. We've seen it. I've been to England games. I'll tell you what, they had them at the Upton Park for the last game when we played Man United. They had dogs.
Yeah.
Thank you, W&P. Thank you. I'm just angry. I'm angry at several things, Rob. I'm angry at... Yeah, I don't know.
No, it's fine. It's what we're here for. But were you... the same as me? Did you go to that game before even the lineups were announced? Did you go to that game kind of thinking, I'm not actually too concerned if we lose it, with providing we sort of go balls deep on Thursday and hopefully get through? Did you sort of go like, collateral damage, the Arsenal game, blah, blah, blah. But having said that, that's how I felt. And obviously when the lineup was put out, I sort of went, okay, we got a right back at left back. We've got a left back at centre back. We got a 35-year-old man that's shortly about to be retired playing in central mid, blah, blah, blah. Kind of looking at it and I was expecting it to be a defeat, and obviously it was. But because we obviously did quite well in that first half, and certain things happened in the second half or in the first half as well, the Ramsdale, this, that, and the other. Did you come away from it? And I'm guessing I know the answer. Did you come away thinking we could have got something there? We could have at least got a point
before the game
opportunity
and before
lost.
the lineups. Before the game and before the lineups, I thought we could get something from it. I really did. I think I said 2-1 West Ham in the preview to this, because I honestly thought we could win it. Unfortunately, Rob,
when the lineups were announced and you.
Yeah, even with the lineups in it, I still thought we could get something from it. What bugs me is you used the phrase there. You used the phrase that collateral damage and going balls deep on Thursday. Unfortunately, at this end of the season, there aren't any games that can be considered collateral damage. Larry made a point last night on the talk show that we're showing right now where our issues lie. We should have strengthened. We should have done this. We should have done that. As I turned around and said, we're only in this position that we're not falling in free fall down the table. We've lost 4 games in all competitions in a row now. I've seen a few fans on social media going, "We're back to the old West Ham." Fuck off, people. It's I was like, we did all the hard work coming in again. We did all the hard work.
Hey, Pat.
We did all the hard work at the start of the season. So this blip in form doesn't affect us like it could have done. Let's be honest. We could have been in free fall down the league in these last 4 games in all competitions, plus the draws that we've picked up that should have been wins, etc. Could have seen us sitting 9th.
That's good news.
12th, 15th at this point, but it hasn't. We've gone on a blip, and we're still where we are and in contention with 7th place, despite the fact that we're having a fucking mare recently. So it's not the end of the world, but we are kind of throwing away all the hard work that we did at the start of the season, and even by saying, and again, no dig at you, by saying collateral damage, it's okay because we've got the game on Thursday. I'm kind of at a point where, well, no, there seems to be some sort of, I don't want to say hypocriticalness from you, but hypocriticalness from you is that you say the bread and butter is, our bread and butter would be the league, and the cups are a nice dessert, etc.
Yep.
Well, I said to you in the chat this morning, I feel it's the other way round. We will never, as I've said about the big 6 already, 7th is probably, until we get a big investment, until we get our own oligarch, or we get our own fucking country, or we get someone that's just fucking worked out or cleaned up with billions out of the stock market. We're never going to be able to break that top 7. So the league isn't our bread and butter. The league is, we need to finish as high as we can for the money that we're going to get out of it. Our cups are where we should be plying our trade. The cups are where we should be, the cups are where what we should be fighting for year in, year out. Okay. So, I feel that you saying that bread and butter, the league is our bread and butter.
Well, it is. As far as I'm concerned,
saying we're quite happy to throw games away in the league.
No. When did I say I'm happy to throw a game away? When did I use that phrase?
You said it's okay for collateral.
No. I asked the question. I didn't make a statement. There's a difference.
My apologies then if I misunderstood.
I asked a question. I put forward a hypothesis. Now, what I will say is that I maintain your league is your bread and butter. No ifs, no buts. But if you're a team, as we are, we're not a Manchester City, we're not a Manchester United, we're not a Liverpool, and we find ourselves in a European semi-final, then I think that it's perfectly natural at that point for your focus to kind of waver from the Premier League and kind of look over here at the Europa League. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes, but we have more chance of winning the cups than we do having any kind of success in the league.
Don't disagree with that statement.
I'm nicking that one. Fuck off. I'm nicking that one. Fuck off.
Okay.
Right.
He's got 11 comments that he's kept here.
Yeah.
Do you want to? I'll tell you what. Should we do the player ratings and then you can get the? Oh, okay. All right.
I've got a couple of things. So,
go on.
Everyone's probably seen social media in the last 36 hours where I
don't know what you mean.
Where we've. I'm looking that one.
I agree with that comment that you've just starred from Kent. That's where I'm at.
Yes.
I think he and I must be brothers from another mother. Because
I think there's some sort of telepathy.
It's easy for you to say.
It's not. Someone. I'm going to quickly go into the stars because I've starred 12 now. Fuck mine.
You have. You're going mental.
No, I haven't. I've actually only starred 10 because you had 2.
Oh, okay. Did I?
You had 2. Where is? Right, Andy, I'm going to bring this one up. There it is. Okay. Wowzers. Okay. He blew up. We had a corner. Now, from what I'm led to understand from referees is that the benefit of the doubt should go towards the attacking team at the end of the game if they're on an attack.
That's my understanding.
That attack, and the same at the end of the game. That attack should be allowed to play out in its entirety, whether it goes out for a corner. That corner should be allowed to be taken because that's no, they're on another channel, Green Street Elites.
Yep.
And guys, if you haven't subscribed to Green Street Elites and Budgie, please go over there. I think he's only got 80 subscribers, and the content he puts out is deserving of a hell of a lot more than that. So if you haven't subscribed to Green Street Elites and Budgie and the guys over there, please go over and subscribe to Budgie's channel, Green Street Elites. Banging. I was on there for 3 hours doing a talk show with him the other day. I've still only watched 2 hours of it. I've still got to pick up the other hour, and I was on it. I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, so the corner should have been allowed to have been taken.
I agree.
Okay, point number one, absolutely fucked over on that. Point number two, the Jared Bowen incident. Okay, straight red for the keeper. I don't care. It's reckless. It's endangering the player. By the letter of the law, it's a red card. Right? It's a red card. The corner for their second goal is a blatant handball. There are pictures doing the rounds on the internet. It's already in our chat as well. Please go take a look. Cresswell's jumping at the back post, I believe, and the ball hits the arm.
Holding, wasn't it?
Holding at the back post before they then go and score the second goal. Blatant handball. There's point number three. Point number four is we have a corner, Rob. We've got the ball down on our left-hand side. Fredericks comes back onto his right to whip the cross in. Antonio gets the header.
Yeah.
It hits the arm of the defender. The arm is not inside the silhouette of the defender because the arm is here. It hits him here and it bounces away, and I think it goes back to another Arsenal player who clears it. That's a penalty to West Ham. Okay. No. Pat, it does matter because it influenced where the ball went and who it dropped to. It's a handball. It's a handball. It doesn't matter because it influenced where the ball dropped. See Declan Rice versus Sheffield United.
But the rules were different. The rules were different then.
No. That was the season it changed, Rob. He influenced the ball by running because he punched the ball, but his arm was in his silhouette. If the ball is not, if your arm is up, it is your arm. It's handball, regardless.
Not accidental handball anymore. That was changed.
No, it was because it affected play. The goal shouldn't have changed. No, it wasn't because the season before Man City Tottenham, there was a header down. It flicked off of someone's arm, fell to a Man City player. City scored. The goal was chalked off because of a handball in the lead up. The goal should have been chalked. Also, I want to talk about the fact that the referee allowed what happened between Nketiah and I think it was Cresswell. Cresswell went to take a free kick in the last 2 or 3 minutes of the half. Cresswell goes to take a free kick and Nketiah stands in front of him saying that he doesn't know how you've given that free kick to West Ham. Blah, blah, blah. Cresswell goes to take it and he basically closes his legs and stops him from kicking it. So Cresswell kicks him on the ankles. Get out the fucking way. You won't get kicked, right? So then that starts a back and forth between Cresswell and Nketiah. Mike Dean stood there and watched these two players jaw at each other for 5 or 6 seconds. Hands were raised by Nketiah to move Cresswell away. I've got no problem with that. What follows is all on Mike Dean. It went from a 2-man conversation to a 2-team brawl of everyone pulling pushing, dragging, shoving, all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Which then led to Declan Rice having his square off moment. My captain, love him, right? Standing his ground and basically asking Eddie Nketiah, who the fuck are you? Despite the fact that he's known Nketiah since he was 9.
Yes.
Love it. His mum fed Declan Rice at their dinner table, and Declan Rice is going, who the fucking hell are you? Love it. All of which Mike Dean could have stopped by booking Nketiah for impeding play like he did. Because that's what you should have done. He's deliberately stopped. It's the same as when you kick the ball away. And on top of that, Aaron Ramsdale's time wasting. What happened to the 6-second rule? Can anyone tell me if that's changed?
It's one of those rules that's not enforced. It's a bit like
for 19 seconds in his fucking hand.
I don't disagree. But when was the last time you saw a goalkeeper get penalised for that? It doesn't happen.
Yeah, but that's the point, isn't it? It was wasting time beyond wasting time. You're right. In fact, Mike Reed's better as a referee.
Hey, Ricky.
And Mike Dean's a better comedian. So there were 5 or 6 points there that Mike Dean, not only Mike Dean, VAR got wrong as well, Rob. Not once did VAR look at the Ramsdale challenge. It wasn't looked at. It wasn't looked at because it didn't come up on the board. It wasn't looked at. Number 2, the handball for the penalty wasn't looked at by a VAR. Number 3, the handball for their goal wasn't looked at. Number 3, the handball for our penalty that we should have got wasn't given, wasn't even looked at by VAR. The time wasting everything else, we should have had 7 or 8 minutes added on. Yeah, he could have got two yellows in that. It's spot on, mate. And including him squaring up and whatever happened with him and 7 seconds, not 14 and 19 that I counted in the game. So yeah, I'm angry because we deserve to get something out of it, and I feel that we've been fucked over by A, poor officiating, and B, by a corrupt system of VAR, as Betty Swallocks says down at the bottom, which, by the way, is a fantastic
spoonerism
username. Love it.
Yeah, right.
So we must start comments.
I'll tell you what. Go on. Get the start comment.
You bring them up one by one and clear them off, right. And I'll say what I was going to say when they came up.
Okay, we'll get these out the way, and then we'll get into player ratings. Go.
Let's do that. I'm not disagreeing with you with the way he played in his movement, and yes, I mean he would be a good West Ham player, but he's a cunt, and I don't like.
We've signed them before.
Yeah, no, but I don't like the way he went about things. Okay, I think he's a fantastic player, and he would be a brilliant West Ham player. And if we do sign him, I'll get behind him. It's no different to maybe
Craig Bellamy,
anyone else bar one player. I will get behind them wearing a West Ham shirt, but it's just the way he went about things. His professionalism and his sportsmanship were awful, and I didn't like it. That's what I meant by that.
If he was wearing claret and blue and he scored 15 Premier League goals in a season, you wouldn't give a shit.
No, probably not. But
let's
he's not
be
wearing
honest.
a claret and blue shirt. He was acting like Charlie Big Bollocks on that pitch yesterday, and he hasn't done anything to warrant that in my opinion.
But that was the same with Craig Bellamy for me. I mean, Craig Bellamy, I hated.
Craig Bellamy had been there and done it.
Yeah, but I hated Craig Bellamy. I mean, when he was at Newcastle and Blackburn, I think, and Norwich and Coventry, I thought he was an absolute pain in the arse. He came to West Ham. I loved him because he was giving everything for the cause. So I know what you're saying, but fundamentally, that's his job. He's there to be a nuisance. He's there to disrupt West Ham. He's there to be a part of beating West Ham, and he was, to be fair to him. Would I take Eddie Nketiah? To be honest, you and I had this discussion, and I wasn't so sure. I got to be honest. What I've seen of him in about the last month, I'd take him in a heartbeat. Take him in a heartbeat. Right, that's the next one.
Yes, he was, and I'm not going to disagree with that. I'm running the risk of a mutual friend wanting to come and kick me square on the bollocks. but I'm going to have to take that as and when it happens. But yes, I completely agree. He was turd. No, I'll tell you what. He had the Gatesy, could you bring up the dispossessed stats for me, if possible?
Wait just one
You
moment.
won't have to, because I know. The answer's 1. Mark Noble was
dispossessed once, and he had a pass success rate of 94%.
Now tell me that he was too slow and he had the ball nicked off of him several times. He was dispossessed once and 96%, Rob, did you say?
94.
94% of his passes found their target, be it short, long, diagonal, backwards, sideways, forwards. 94. No, I can't agree with that. Sorry, Hammerhead. And the stats have just proved that.
Okay.
Okay. We know.
Yeah, we are where we are. We're not where we want to be. It's one of those.
Unfortunately, that the whole January thing for me, and Rob knows this. I've done this to a point that me and Rob have had some heated discussions about the facts, not necessarily on screen, but we've had heated discussions over the fact that I just feel that's been flogged now. That's been that horse has run its course. We know this. Nothing's that's not going to change, is it? You know what I mean? So is this due to luck and other teams not capitalising on our fault? Yes, it is. If like every team in and around us is having a fucking mare of a season, and that's allowing us to stay where we are. I can't disagree with that comment there. But our squad is quite clearly strong enough, as I've already said, and I said last night. We've competed on 4 fronts this season. We competed in the Premier League because we're sitting 7th. Yes, people think we could be doing better, but we're still 7th. We competed in the FA Cup. We got to the last 16. All right, we struggled against Kidderminster, but we got to the last 16. We still competed to be in that round.
Yep.
We got to the quarter-final of the Carabao Cup, and we've got to the semi-final of the Europa League. The squad is strong enough to be competing because we've proven that. 7th, etc., etc., etc. I'm going to quickly... where's it gone?
What?
There, that one. Okay.
Oh,
next.
you've started another one, have you?
One more because I love Kent.
Okay.
Right.
That's the one that he agreed with me. League is bread and butter until the feast of the final is on the horizon, and that's exactly what I said earlier. The league is your bread and butter. That is my default position. But when you get to a semi-final of European competition,
I disagree.
Your focus has to change.
I think we have more. I'd rather finish 10th. Well, actually, I'd rather finish 17th in the league and win a cup, be it the FA Cup or the League Cup. And
but you wouldn't want to do a Wigan, would you? Win the FA Cup and get relegated in the same season,
preferably not,
and not come back.
Well, I'd rather finish 17th and win the cup. That's just me. Listen, we can argue and not argue, but agree to disagree. You see what I mean?
Debate it.
Yeah. Moyes has to stop working with a small squad. Do you think we've fallen short this season then? If we qualify for the Europa League final on Thursday, which I do believe we can, do you consider then that we've fallen short by qualifying for the Europa League final and finishing 7th in the league, quarter-final of the Carabao Cup? Would you consider that falling short? I wouldn't, and he's used the smallest squad that I think I've known. So,
fair enough.
Peter, I've been saying this for months. And it's not just the officials. It's Sky and it's the Premier League. I'd start that because I love it.
I agree with Kent. As I say, Craig Bellamy being a case in point.
Thomas Repka.
But you don't want to shit one.
It's true. In fact, the last one we had, I would go as far as say was Arnautovic. And
yeah.
You know what, Kent? I started this one because it was something that I noticed was quite lacking in our forward four. Bowen, Lanzini, Fornals, and Benrahma. Noble recycled the ball brilliantly. He retained possession. It was fucking amazing. I just wish the others going forward could do the same thing. If there's nothing on in front of you or crossing wise, don't do it. Retain possession, recycle the ball, come back and start again and look for another opening. We didn't do it enough.
Right. Fair.
Sorry.
That's all right. We ready to do player ratings, old chap?
Can we? I'm looking forward to this.
Okay, let's do it. Player ratings. Okay, let me get rid of that. Okay, so there we go. That's the 11 that took to London Stadium yesterday. So we're going to start with Lucas Fabianski. Duke, talk to me.
8.
8.
8. It could have been game over by half time. He made it 2 absolutely phenomenal stops in the first half. Low down in the bottom bins. Like I'm talking, they would have shaved millimeters off the inside of that post as they got in. He was fucking brilliant yesterday. And I'll tell you what, for his age, I know people are blaming him for the second goal. It could have been over by then. He made 2 great stops in the first half. One equally fantastic stop in the second half. Brilliant. 8.
8. Okay. Talk to me about Vladimir Kufal's performance. What did you think? Obviously, I'm a little bit concerned also, just to slightly go off on a tangent before you give that. I am a little bit concerned about the news about Ben Johnson, but Kufal might be a beneficiary of that.
Yeah, well, listen, I'd like to see Soufal start anyway on Thursday anyway. I'm going to give Soufal 2 marks, Rob. I'm going to give him 2 marks for 2 slightly different things. The first one being, I'm going to give him a rating of 10 for not giving up and walking off the pitch pissed off, because he could have set up a campsite with a wood fire burning. He could have had a barbecue. He could have sat down in a lawn chair and made 3 cups of tea out on that right side of the pitch, even as far up as the halfway line at one point. Why everyone else on that pitch fucking ignored him. Okay. We were screaming in the Bobby Moore lower that he should have the ball out there. And I mean, fuck me, the guy, listen, he had some prime real estate out there on the right-hand side so often during that game in the first half. Second half, he was on the other side, so it was difficult for us to pick up on that side. I'm going to give him a 7.
Okay.
Because his drive, okay, his desire to want the ball. I mean, he was throwing his arms, he was getting the ump. You could see it. You could see it. He was getting angry because he was in so much space. And when he did get the ball, he drove forward. But then he used his brain. And if there wasn't if there wasn't a out for him, i.e., very few people moving around in front of him, which again, the front 4 did, he recycled the ball really well. And he came back with it. He kept possession. Every time he put a cross into the box, there was 2-3 players in the box, Benny arriving at the back post. All right, they might not have been good enough, but at least he was putting it in there. Too often, we didn't have players in there, but he retained the ball well, and he recycled possession. He got
the assist.
He did, and he used a bit of footballing intelligence, Robert. It wasn't the best pass. Wasn't the best pass for the goal. He kind of stabbed at it.
Why do I think with that comment that you're possibly doing the groundwork when you come to another one of the players?
Let's carry on.
Okay, talk to me about Ryan Fredericks. Now, he obviously, like I say, he's a right back being deployed at left back. It's not his fault. There's an injury crisis. There's this, there's that going on. So he's been shoved there. He's done a job to the best of his ability. But what did you think?
I'll tell you what frustrated me, okay, is we for whatever reason, even after the goal, we focused a lot of our attacks down the wrong side, Rob. That's a fair comment, Ken. I will concede to you on that one. That's fine.
Opinions. They're like bumholes.
Yep. Some of them taste like shit.
That wasn't quite where I was going with that.
Smell like shit. Sorry, that's not what I meant.
I was going to say, you know, taste. I've never tasted a bumhole, but never mind.
Stink. That's right. Anyway, we seem to persevere with going down the left-hand side for a lot of our attacks, and when Fredericks was involved, quite clearly he had to keep coming back rather than racing down the wing and whipping it in with his left, which Johnson did for the goal against Leon, the second one, Declan Rice's. It wasn't the best cross, and I personally think it was a wasted cross considering we had no one in the fucking box, but we benefited from it. Lack of football intelligence. We were wasting it down that left-hand side by giving the ball to Fredericks and then asking him to come back on himself to whip a cross in swinger with his left foot. You know, so I'm gonna give him a 7 because he as Ken says, I can't believe he didn't use his swinger. Again, I would love to have seen him just whip a cross in. Just get down there and swing at it. If it goes out, listen, if he'd attempted 6 crosses yesterday with his left foot and only 2 got into the box and the other 3 or 4 were overhit or went out or were just dog shit or came back to our own goalkeeper because he'd hooked him too much.
Yeah.
I would have appreciated it because at least he tried, but he didn't. He kept coming back in. It slowed down our attack.
Yes, it did.
A little bit of it gave Arsenal a little bit of impetus to get back. He did mark him really well to the point that he put the ball out. He had the ump and he was throwing his toys out of his pram a little bit because he's a prick.
Oh,
and by
Jolly
the way,
Boys.
Jolly
Boys outing.
Jared Bowen is a better player than Bakary Saka. Just saying that, and I've got the stats to prove.
Yeah, well,
I'm going to give Fredericks a 7 for at least persevering with what he was doing, and a player played out of position.
Well, another player played out of position. We'll come to Aaron Cresswell.
I'm going to give him a 7 as well. Again, another player used out of position. Again, not the tallest player on the pitch, so it's difficult for him to defend the corners in the same way that Dawson would have done. But I'm going to give him a 7 because he stuck at it, Rob. You know, it's not easy to be dropped, especially, that's a bit harsh, Steve. I'm going to give him a 7 as Kent says there. I think he stuck at it well. He stuck at his task as well, and I think he defended resolutely, to be fair.
Another square peg in a round hole, and it's not his fault. He was asked to do a job by David Moyes that's unfamiliar to him. I know people would turn around and say, but he's played at centre-back before, Gatesy. And I'm like, yeah, but in a back 3, not in a back 4.
Yeah.
It's a different concept completely. But he did it. He did it admirably.
He did.
I mean, he probably didn't
very well.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have the disadvantage that Fredericks had, that he was playing on the side that's uncomfortable for him, to be fair. And I know you could turn around and say, but he's a professional footballer. You know, he shouldn't have a wrong foot. And there is that. But, you know. Anyway.
In today's game, yes, Rob. But Cresswell started out playing 30 years ago when... listen... What is he now? Well, probably. Let me concede. It's probably 27 years ago that he started to kick a ball, and it was a different story then. Your left back was your left back. Your right back was your right back. Your left winger played with a left foot.
Yes.
You know, it's
a winger was a winger, not an inverted forward.
Your days are gone where now you have to be better with both feet. Yes, in today's game, but you've got to bear in mind that the guys that are in their 30s now started playing 20 odd years ago. Slightly different scenario.
Yeah. Talk to me about the captain on the day, our club captain, Mr. Mark Noble.
Put the S on his chest.
Oh, hello. Right, hold on. Put the S. Hang on. Bear with me. There you go. Put the S on the chest of Mr. Mark Noble in his penultimate game at London Stadium. Why have you given him the Hero Award?
He played like a man, in my opinion, and other people might have seen things differently, and that's fine. In my opinion, yesterday, I'm actually going to go a 9 for Nobes. I'm going to give him a 9. Again, you know, he was dispossessed once. I know people were saying he was too slow, and I didn't see it. I watched a guy, again, cliche, covered every blade of grass. He tried to get forward when we were going forward. He offered the wingers an outlet if there wasn't anything going forward. Both sides of the pitch, left and right, he was giving the fullbacks and the wingers an outlet to recycle the ball every single time. He was there to break up play. I tell you what, he looked like a Mark Noble of 7 or 8 years ago, Rob, yesterday. I just thought he was phenomenal. And I have to say, like you just said, there's his penultimate game. I don't think I'm going to get a ticket to the City game for his last game at the London Stadium. I'm pleased that my last memory of watching that man play live was yesterday's game, because I thought he was nothing short of absolutely phenomenal.
Fair enough. Can I just make a point? We've got 24 people watching and we've got 9 likes. Could you guys please do us a favor and sort that one out? Because believe it or not, that simple act, 25 now, that simple act of just clicking on the thumbs up button helps the old YouTube algorithms out tremendously. I don't know how. I'm not a technical IT guru, but it helps the channel out. It gets us a little bit more exposure to 27 now. So you 27, if you could just drop a like on the stream, it really would help us out tremendously. Thank you so much indeed. Declan Rice, Duke.
7.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
At points before, well, I'll tell you what, no, let me change that. I'm going to go to an 8. Because he took over Noble's mantra after Noble.
Thank you, Rebecca.
It seemed like he was allowing Noble to do the work.
Sharing his caring, Pat.
Points. Once Noble went off and Deck had the armband on, that's when you saw the other side of Deck. So once Noble had gone off, he went from a 7 to an 8. He was trying to drive us on. He was trying to push it. He was trying to find the gaps.
Cheers, guys.
And to be fair, he stood his ground. You might not necessarily agree with it, and there is part of me that's going, well,
cheers, Walshy.
Yeah, he was being a bit of a dick because we were in injury time. We only had like 3 minutes left, and you're standing there creating a problem for the referee by saying, well, it's your own player that's wasting your own fucking time here. Deck, fuck off. Deal with it after the game. You know what I mean? There's that, the scowls, you know, the scowls are, do you want him to just turn around and smack Nketiah in the mouth? Or do you want him to go, look, mate, get on with the game? Like, I think it was, who was it that ran up and grabbed him? Soufal ran up, fuck off. We've only got 3 minutes to go. Can you stop? And that was fair play, you know. So I'm going to go an 8 because he did grab that. Nah, doesn't work for me. He really wasn't.
Mate, I respectfully disagree. I thought he was sensational. I really do. I would have ordinarily gave him a 9, but I gave him an extra point for for sort of like telling Nketiah what he thought of him.
What minute did Mark Noble go off, Rob? Was it 60, 68, 67, 68?
Let me have a look for you. Timeline. Mark Noble went off in minute. No, not there. Hang on. It's not.
No, you're right. We've only been going.
Oh, here it is. Minute 77.
I went off in the 77th minute. For me, for 77 minutes, Declan Rice played in Mark Noble's shadow.
Okay. Can't say I agree with that statement. I'm not saying that Mark Noble had a crap game. I'm not saying that by any stretch of the imagination. I thought he was brilliant. I thought Declan was absolutely brilliant. I've just realised we've missed out Kurt Zuma. What an idiot. What an idiot. Talk to me about Kurt Zuma, Duke. We can edit this bit out. Amateurs.
I still think he's struggling a little bit.
Really?
For match fitness. for match fitness. The last 10, 15 minutes, he looked absolutely shagged. It looked like he was on his arse. Now I'm not saying he was poor. I'm actually going to give him a 7, bordering on 8, but I'm going to go 7. I just think he's on his arse a little bit. I think you might see a different Zuma against Frankfurt because he's now played. Listen, we weren't expecting this poor prick to be back at all this season, and now he's played 2 games back to back. You know, he's on his arse a little bit. I think you might see a better Zuma now. He's got a little bit of match fitness under his belt. You might see a better Zuma on Thursday.
I thought he was getting forwards quite regularly and causing Arsenal all sorts of problems. And I thought defensively he was strong as well. It's not like he was getting forward but crap at the back. I thought he was all over the place, but in a good way, all over the place.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I
thought it was an all-action performance. I thought he was brilliant.
No, I'm going to go. There you go. Ken's just reiterated what I said there, and I like it. Means that we've got similar opinions. I like it.
Listen, I'm not saying I'm not concerned about his fitness, but
I think he struggled the last. I mean, listen, I think he struggled defensively the last 10, 15 minutes because he was on his arse. And the problem was he was asked for the last 5 minutes. He was asked to play as a centre forward at one point, and couldn't get back when we lost the ball. He was absolutely shagged out, and I understand it. He's missed X amount with an ankle injury, but the good thing is, I think you see the better Zuma on Thursday.
Yeah. Just to answer Sharky's question before we move on to the next player, I think it's a thigh injury. That was the reason why he wasn't involved yesterday. And obviously, I don't know what the prognosis is as far as Thursday's concerned. So, you know, it's another body that possibly might not be available for what is essentially going to be our biggest game for some considerable time. Exactly what Mr. Singleton said there, thigh issue.
I think you're wrong.
What's that?
I don't think it's going to be our biggest game for some considerable time going forward. It's our biggest game for what has been some considerable time, but we might have bigger games on the horizon. That's a baseball that I've just thrown near enough at the telly.
Well, I can only deal with the games that we've played up to this point. I can't deal with if we get Champions League. You know what I mean?
It's how you worded it. You made it sound like it is what will be our biggest game for some time, not what's been our for.
What will be up to the present date?
What has been some considerable time been, not will have been.
I'm not a politician, dude. I fix domestic appliances for a living.
Where are we at?
I'm going to leave a certain player till the end because I rather suspect.
You leave 2.
Okay, all right. Talk to me about Jared Bowen then.
I'm going to give him. I'm going to give him a 9.
Oh,
I think his drive, his desire, he led the line, in my opinion, really well. He tried to find the space, especially in the second half. I watched him a lot. I watched him a lot in the second half because I couldn't see Soufal because I watched Soufal a lot in the first half. Okay. I honestly thought Bowen was brilliant. He demanded the ball. He made a lot of runs that were not seen by certain players, certain left and right wingers and central attacking midfielders. As Kent says, he's our biggest hope, Rob. He really is. He's
help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Him and Declan Rice are our biggest hopes of the future, and we have to do everything we can to keep hold of the pair of them because everyone bangs on about how Declan Rice is. Our 150 million pound player, and how I consider him to be the best central defensive midfielder in the world. Jared Bowen, is not far off being as valuable to our club as what Declan Rice is right now.
I don't Scott, is that a 7 or is that a -7? I'm guessing
7.
I'm guessing it's Bowen's mistake led to the first goal -7, not -7.
Yeah. Oh, you've got a very old phone.
I thought I'd put that on Do Not Disturb.
Why the hell is that? A phone that you have to go. Do
forgive me. Do Not Disturb is on. What the hell's that all about?
It might be an important phone call, Rob. It might be one of those numbers that.
No.
He's
No, I know
bypassing.
precisely who it is. I know precisely who it is.
Mr. Venn
Hang on.
has made a point.
A7. Yeah, point off for the mistake.
Fair
Okay.
enough.
No, that's fair. I was just checking. I was thinking, that's not surely not a -7. I thought, come on, Scott, come on.
Are you, Gatesy? Are you able to move the players next to other players like you do the Z and the
Yes, if you want me to.
Fantastic. Couldn't you right now take Lanzini and put him next to Ben Rama for me?
What, here?
Yep. That's fine.
Because I don't want to obscure the handsome Mr. Declan
Okay,
Rice.
I'm going to talk about Pablo.
Him here.
I personally think Pablo was at points a little bit conspicuous by his absence.
Agreed.
I think he kept the reason I think Soufal had a lot of space on the right hand side was because Fornals kept disappearing. Wherever Fornals went to, I don't know. I don't recall him having much impact in the first half. I'm going to agree with. I'm actually going to go with 5 for Pablo. I just felt that he was, like I say, very conspicuous by his absence at times in that game.
I'm not even too sure he was as good as a 5, Steve. I know you've given him a 5. Walshy's given him a 6.5. I thought he was shocking. I thought he was, in my opinion, I think he was the worst player on the pitch from our starting 11.
Ooh.
I do, and I love Pablo Fornals. Normally, I'm a guy that will champion Pablo Fornals for his work rate and the fact that he's bought into West Ham as a club and all the rest of it. But I have to put that to one side and say it as I see it. I thought he was crap yesterday.
Fair enough.
Absolutely
Give
shocking.
him a 5. I'll say he's conspicuous by his absence.
Well, yeah, I mean it's fair enough. But go on then. So we got 2 left. Lanzini.
Put the S on both of them. The Z on both of them.
Z on both of them. Ah, right. I see why you've. I'll tell you what. Right. Hold on. Just bear with me. Just gonna press that. Okay. So what I can do is I can make that a little bit bigger so it covers the pair of them. Okay. Talk to me.
Dog shit.
Really? Okay.
Both of them. Lanzini, I have to say, Lanzini could have just sneaked the worst player on the pitch by a very small margin, but for. I bang on about it week in, week out, and everyone sat around me on the Bobby Moore lower for the second half, and bearing in mind that was the side that Ben Rama was playing on. I'm not saying he's not a talented individual, and I reckon he would make an absolutely fantastic. What a freestyle footballer.
Okay.
Right. He could be the juggling act before the FA Cup final in the centre circle when he lays on his back and plays with the ball like a fucking seal. Right. I'm not saying that he isn't a talented individual. I've mentioned it twice since we started doing this this player rating for this game. I used the words twice.
Yes.
Footballing intelligence. Knowing when to recycle the ball. Knowing when to release the ball to a teammate in a pass because there's nothing else going forward. Knowing when to stop trying to force emotion, be it trying to take on your player, to do a step over, to try and beat your man when it's not going to happen. And once again, I counted 6 times in the second half alone when he was shit with the ball at his feet that he could have turned, recycled and gone again and waited rather than trying to force the attack. He tried to beat his man and ran himself into a cul-de-sac. Yes.
This is Ben Rama we're talking about.
Yeah, run himself into a cul-de-sac of the defender. The defender would keep him on his left foot, put him out, and then he, much like Fredericks was saying, he could have just swung his left foot, but that's what he was doing. But it was shit. It was awful. Stop trying to beat the man and recycle the ball. If there's nothing being, if you are unable to beat him, don't try and beat him. Recycle the ball and go again. They marked him so tightly that when he tried to beat his man, he was on the halfway line or on the touch line already, like the byline. Sorry, and I don't even think he played well in the first half. Walshy, to be honest with you, he kept running down cul-de-sacs. He kept running into dead ends and blind spots, and it just frustrated the shit out of me. I want nothing more than this guy to prove me wrong. And I sat there in a stand full of what can be considered staunch West Ham fans. This is the Bobby Moore Lower, and the Bobby Moore Lower there is very opinionated. It's the same as what it was at Upton Park. There are some characters that sat around me. There was one about 12 rows that way and about 15 rows back that scared the shit out of me when he come and stood in front of me and just stared at me, a bit like Cyber does. And I'm like, hello? And he went, Walshy. I was like, ah, right, makes sense. But he stood there and stared at me for a good 3 seconds, to the point that I thought I was about to get smashed in the face. Even Grace was like, huh? And then he went, Walshy. I was like, hey! I gave him a bigger. Very opinionated people. And every time I'm going, he lacks footballing intelligence. Everyone agreed. There's no real footballing brain there. And it's so frustrating for someone that is so talented. I think the last time I think I saw someone so talented as Ben Rama was probably Ravel Morrison. Ravel Morrison used his footballing intelligence, but didn't use his regular everyday
life intelligence.
Didn't use life skills or life experience, but used his football intelligence to go along with his footballing talent. Unfortunately, Benny doesn't, and it just irritates the fuck out of me. And to corroborate with what Steve says,
I wouldn't be shocked.
Bobby Moore. The Bobby Moore Lower. Everyone was in agreement with me. Everyone was in agreement with me that he won't be there. He won't be there next summer.
Probably not.
I would listen. I've said it before. I would love to see if we could use him as a make weight, because I don't think Coutinho will sign for Villa next season. So they're going to need a Coutinho type player that's going to be allowed the freedom to go and do what he wants. I would like to think that we could persuade Villa that Benny is that player, because Benny can be that player when he's allowed to just go do what he wants. And we get Ollie Watkins the other way, because I don't think Ollie Watkins has performed anywhere near what he could do for Villa because of Danny Ings. I think if we could encourage them in a swap deal, that'd be where I'd go with that.
So just to sort of so I've got it straight. So what score are you giving both Benny and Lanzini?
4.
4.
Worst players on the pitch, both of them.
I thought Pablo was worse, if I'm being honest. I thought they weren't great. I'm gonna absolutely agree with you. I don't think they were great. I thought Pablo was far worse. But we can bat that back and forward till the cows come home. Like I say, I'm not going to sit here and say they were, Lanzini and Ben Rama were fantastic yesterday, because they absolutely weren't. I just think that marginally, I think that Pablo Fornals was worse.
That's fair enough.
It is what it is. It's like I say, it's an opinion. But right, okay, we're going to mark whether this is fair or not. We're going to do it. Talk to me about Mikel Antonio.
The big bad wolf in the Three Little Pigs story when he came up against the concrete brick house. He huffed, he puffed, he huffed, he puffed, he huffed, he puffed, he huffed, he puffed. But he didn't do nothing else. He pulled out wide a lot when we didn't want him to, didn't need him to. We need him to be a force up top. Mm-hmm. We needed him to be a lump. We needed him to be a nuisance with his size. And he didn't do it. I'm going to give him a 4.
Fair enough. Big Tom?
5.
Okay, because he was only on for about, what, 13 minutes?
Yeah, and again, the effort was there, the drive, the desire. He flew into a few challenges, which made me go, because we can't afford to fucking another player to be suspended. Yeah, 5.
Okay. I mean, and a 9-minute cameo for Mr. Yarmolenko, who, before you give him your mark, the first thing that I saw him contribute was he was caught offside.
I'm going to bypass the offside, and I'm going to give him. I'm going to give him 2 marks. I'm going to give him a mark for his performance, but then I'm going to give him a 276 out of 10 for just the rolling of the ball with a back heel that went out wide to whoever was out on the. I think it was Soufal. He kind of walked on the ball, a la Johan Cruyff, but as he landed, back heeled the ball out wide, which I thought was absolutely outstanding. I was like, "This is it. This is it now. This man's on." And then there was fuck all else. I'm actually going to give him a 5.
Okay, and David Moyes. He probably picked the best team that he could, didn't he? In a lot of respects.
It's a 6. I think tactically, I think we were the better side. I think we were the better side with regards to the game itself. We just Arsenal were more dominant with their finishing. Again, it comes down to the Frankfurt game. You know, we were the dominant side when it came to chances. If you have a look at the chances created, but they converted. We didn't. And it
German efficiency, wasn't it?
It comes down to this Arsenal side yesterday. We created, I felt, better chances. You know, although Fabianski made 3 good saves, I still felt not better chance. We had the better of the game, but yet they had the better chances, and we just didn't really create enough good chances to even trouble Ramsdale at times. So
yeah, I'm struggling to remember. There was the goal. There was the header from Declan Rice, wasn't there, that Ramsdale made the save, and I'm struggling to think of anything else.
Yeah, but you can't blame Moyes for that, because the players should be making with the amount of the game we actually had in our favour, we should be making more chances.
Fair enough. Are you going to utilise your hero or zero award on any of these?
No, I don't think.
Leave it.
I mean, no one there was anywhere close to putting in a performance that was a la Mr. Noble, and none of them there were bad enough to warrant the Z like Benrahma and Lanzini were.
Yeah, Mike Dean's getting a lot of love.
Upside down diamond.
Upside down diamond. You're going to have to. Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
Diamond Dallas Page used to do that.
The diamond cutter.
And then you do that. And
he got into wrestling really late in the day. Really late.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he's a fantastic mental health expert.
Now does the DDP yoga.
And yeah, mate, you listen to some of the stories from
Jake Roberts
and a couple of the others, and
the late Scott Hall.
Terry Funk was another guy that worked alongside DDP, you know, with the yoga and the mental health stuff. And I've got a hell of a lot of time for DDP. He wasn't my favourite wrestler, I've got to say. He certainly wasn't someone that grabbed me like the Undertaker or the Ultimate Warrior or even the Legion of Doom. I thought the Legion of Doom were my favourite tag team. But
you were more WWF than WCW, I'm sensing.
No, well, I was in the early days. And then when WCW and it all amalgamated, all the rest of it, and you saw the other wrestlers coming through, Sting was another big favourite of mine growing up. But then, yeah, when you look at DDP and what he's done afterwards, I've got all the time in the world. I've watched all the stories. I've seen the, you know, the reports and the you know, the clickbait stories.
He was in WCW very, very briefly. He joined Haystacks, and then he got cancer. Bless him.
Very briefly.
Died.
Yes, unfortunately.
Loch Ness was the name he wrestled under.
Was
Martin Ruane, who was actually born in Camberwell.
And if you remember rightly, Shirley Crabtree's tag team partner and early tag team partner was the one and only Davey Boy Smith.
Yes.
Who went on to become part of the British Bulldogs and then become a decent wrestler the first time round in his own right. Then when he came back, you know, was fucking awful.
You got that song in your head now, ain't you?
I'm not going to lie to you, right? There are just there are certain. We're going to digress slightly.
We're talking about WWE wrestling now,
but that's Kent's fault right now.
Anyone that's here just for sort of football, it's like, what are they talking about here?
There are certain intro music that make the hairs on the back of their neck stand up. Hulk Hogan was one. The Ultimate Warrior, bum 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 bum, and you see the fucking knobhead come running out and giving it all this bullshit. But none of them, right? And I'm getting, look, the old hairs are going up now, right? My favourite, and it is still my favourite to this day, was Legion of Doom. That for me, right? Even now, I still get goosebumps when I watch the old videos. One of my favourites for Stop it. One of my favourites for comedic value was the New Age Outlaws. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of that one. I loved all of that. But the one that used to scare the shit out of me was The Undertaker.
Just the gong. The lights go down and
and it was just loved it. Like they're
inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame,
and deservedly. Let's not fuck around. I know. Listen, it was a shoe-in, wasn't it? Let's not lie. The guy. Did you know though? You know the fight. It wasn't meant to end like it was, but the fight where he lost to Brock Lesnar when the streak was finished. He really badly injured himself.
He was concussed. He collapsed in the dressing room afterwards, because I've seen it where Vince McMahon comes out. You don't see the Undertaker collapse, but you see Vince McMahon come out and go, "I need some help back here."
Yeah. He literally Brock noticed it. And he finished the fight.
Brock was in tears after the match. Backstage,
he finished the fight early. He finished the fight early because he knew that Taker was in a real bad way. So he finished the fight really a lot sooner than was supposed to happen. Because of that concussion.
He was supposed to lose that year. He was.
No.
Because Mark Calloway talks about it.
Don't argue with her. Don't argue with her.
I'm going to. Sorry.
She loves it.
No, he was supposed to lose because Taker actually talks about it in several interviews that he's done, where Vince McMahon came to him and said, "This is it," and Taker was like, "Are you sure about this?" And Vince turned around and said, "If it's not to Brock, who's it going to be to?" And Vince McMahon actually said in an interview that no one wanted to give back more to the wrestling industry than Mark Calloway.
I tell you what, if he was going to lose to one man, it was the one man that he beat, I think, the previous WrestleMania.
What, CM Punk?
No.
Well, that was the previous
WrestleMania. He shouldn't have lost to Roman Reigns either, Becca. Should have lost to Shawn Michaels. If he was going to lose to anyone, in my opinion.
WrestleMania 24 or 20? 25 or 26?
No, just off the back of that, he beat him in that one. I think then listen, it's all rigged. We know that, but he
Oh,
should
yeah.
have been given that. He should have been given that. He should have been given that retribution angle, and got, you know, he got his own back by taking that streak from the Taker. I've always liked. Well, I say I haven't always liked Shawn Michaels. I thought Shawn
He was
Michaels,
a prick back in the day.
and I was going to say the way the way he treated
Bret Hart,
Marty Jannetty,
uh-huh,
the Rockers, the way he treated him on their split. If you go back and you watch the Barbershop, Bruce the Barber Beefcake.
Yep, where he puts him through.
He puts him through a window. You go back and watch a Mighty Jannetty interview. He actually puts him through it with so much force that Jannetty's hip actually hits the frame at the bottom, which is the solid part, because obviously it needs to be upright. Because he put him through it with so much force and got the throw wrong that he hit his hip on the edge of the framework and really damaged his hip, because they actually did fall out. They actually did fall out over the whole thing, because if I remember rightly, Vince came to them both and said, look, we want to do an angle where you split and you go through a set of fights together, and there's this animosity builds up. It comes to a crescendo, but then something happens to Jannetty and Michaels come back. It's double, and then Michaels come back and saves Jannetty from an arse kicking. Jannetty didn't want to go through with it. He was against it because everyone loved the Rockers. The Rockers were, you know, one of the greatest tag teams, or if not the greatest tag team at the time. Like loved by the fan base. That he was like, no, why would we want to ruin that? And Michaels went, no, I want to go on my own. And they had this big, real personal falling out, which resulted in when Michaels threw him through the window, he actually, with such force, slammed his hip into the solid edge of the window frame and caused him some serious damage. And yes, he does. He looks. You look at the likes of Hogan and the way that they've gone a bit, well, dookified under the old boobage, looking a bit
Ric
saggy.
Flair.
Oh, he looks fucking awful. But then the guy's 70-something now.
Yeah.
Then you look at the likes of Stone Cold.
Yeah.
Although Stone Cold wasn't as big as what Hogan was, he looks fucking awful. Even Calloway, and Calloway hasn't wrestled properly for probably about 8 years. He probably only picked up 1 or 2 matches a year, and then WrestleMania. You look at him now, and he looks. Edge looks fucking. If anyone has suffered from it, Edge looks like he's seriously ill with a wasting disease.
I don't know if you know this about Mark Calloway, but when he went to WWF, as it was then in 1990, the head of the Survivor Series.
What's that first ever appearance live? I just want to put that out there. Ooh!
His hip was already fucked. And
I
think he was 27.
Yeah,
and he says he was already walking with a limp then. So let alone 30 years down the track where he's diving over the top rope and listen, I'm not going to sit here and say, listen, wrestling's not real. We know that it's predetermined. We know that it's scripted. But the thing is, people get badly injured. Badly injured.
Broke his neck off the back of a botched
Owen Hart.
pile
Remember
driver.
him?
Owen Hart was the one that botched the pile driver on.
He was, but I'm talking when he was killed in the ring.
Yeah, but I mean, again, that's
Tommy. You come in when we've just started going off on a tangent. We were about to finish. We've just started talking wrestling.
I mean, the whole Owen Hart situation was just an awful moment in history, and they've tried to create something memorable. And it went wrong. It had nothing to do with wrestling per se, if you know what I mean. It wasn't a move that did this to the guy. Yeah, Sharky's right with Droz. That was D'Lo Brown, wasn't it? Paralysed him with.
Yes.
He ended up in a wheelchair.
Darren Drozdov.
Then you have China.
Yes.
She damaged
She's dead
her.
now.
She is.
Joni Laurier.
I mean, that was a different video.
What, her and X-Pac?
Yeah. That was
Sean Waltman.
I mean, seriously, what the fuck was that? No. Anyway, regardless, leave it. Stop. You look at these guys throw themselves off of here, there, and everywhere. You look at Shane McMahon with the coast to coast. I mean, you've got to get that right, otherwise you're going to break your tailbone.
Did you see what he did at WrestleMania 32 at Hell in a Cell against The Undertaker?
Yes.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah. Broke her neck and she told us she got hurt once more. That's who's the British girl? Oh shit.
Oh, she was from Norfolk, wasn't she?
The video
dark hair girl.
It's the video where is it Paige?
Paige, yes.
Paige. Yeah, that's the video with who's the Nick Frost. They did the video, they did the film, didn't they, about her? Yeah.
Do you know, just on this, did you know when Randy Savage and Elizabeth got married at SummerSlam 91 in the ring?
It was.
They were actually going through a divorce at that point.
In real life.
That's really fucked up.
Yeah.
That you're going through a divorce in real life and you're probably at each other's throats and you probably hate each other's guts. But in your storyline, we're going to make you marry one another.
And have that kiss on the that's exactly the video.
Cheers, Sharky.
It's exactly the video that I was referring to.
I met him.
Her chrysalis was looked like a big caterpillar. What, you met the bulldog?
Yes.
I met the bushwhackers.
I've met the British Bulldog and I met Shirley Crabtree.
Oh, mate. I met Martin.
Do you know where I met him?
Go on.
You know Era Sports Centre?
No way.
They had a wrestling card there one year and he was on the main event. And they did an autograph session afterwards and I had a chat to him.
Really?
Yeah, I had a good chat.
I love that. I met Woodville Halls in Gravesend.
Done that with my boys.
I met the Bushwhackers. I met Marty Jannetty. I spoke to him about that. And no, I was talking about China's chrysalis.
Very delicately put.
I thought it was really good. Huge caterpillar. I met the Bushwhackers, Marty Jannetty, and Billy Benoit, who obviously he's the brother of allegedly the family killer, because I've watched a few videos that there's some evidence out there that really paints a completely different picture about Chris Benoit. I think it's
his brain was fucked.
But
they said it was like an Alzheimer's patient when they did the post-mortem.
There's some evidence that wasn't readily made available, and I've watched a few YouTube videos that say very similar things. That
that's the one, Jazz. They did.
That
Luke and Butch.
He didn't kill his wife, and he didn't kill his son. And I think it's Perry Saturn. Obviously, I can't remember what the stable was called that they were in. Perry Saturn, Eddie Guerrero.
Oh, the Outsiders, the Outlaws.
There was 4 or 5.
There was Eddie Guerrero, there was Chris Benoit, there was Perry Saturn, there was Dean Malenko. All jumped ship from WCW.
That was the invasion thing, wasn't it?
Yes.
After, and I think it was Perry Saturn says that he was in constant communication with Chris on the night that all this happened. And he actually says in an interview with someone on this YouTube video that I watched that he was on the phone to Chris Benoit the night that this all happened, or the night this allegedly happened, let me say. And he answered the door whilst on the phone to Perry Saturn. And the last thing Perry Saturn heard on the phone call was, no, you're not supposed to be here. What do you want? Oh, was it Chavo? It might have been Chavo. Sorry. Chavo was on the phone and he heard him say, you're not supposed to be here. What do you want? You know, whatever it was. But allegedly, he killed his wife or killed his son, killed his wife, and then he hung himself on a weightlifting machine. He did the weight, he tied it all up, pulled it down,
I did know
wrapped it
that,
around
Jez, yeah.
and then let it go. And apparently, bang. Apparently, that was on Saturday. Possibly they were found on the Monday. Allegedly, he sent a text message either on the Sunday night or the Monday morning when he allegedly died on the Saturday, when he allegedly killed himself, on the Saturday. So now they're saying, who was it Dino Bravo was the wrestler that was assassinated?
Yes, he did get, I believe he got
gunned down
bumped off, yes.
in his house.
Yes, it is.
That's superb.
It is, Jazz.
It really is good.
And if you've ever get a chance, Duke, I don't know if you've ever seen this, just on Andre, you can find it on YouTube. There's an interview that Jake Roberts does with Joe Rogan. Have you seen this?
Yes.
And he talks about Andre and about certain things that you'd never ever think about. And he made the point. He said, well, think about it. He goes into a hotel. How's he going to take a dump?
He was exploited in every single way possible. He was exploited by, he was shot in his house. They're saying that that's the same sort of thing that happened. Well, allegedly, they're saying that that's the same sort of thing that might have happened with Benoit. They killed his family, then killed him, made it look like it was a murder-suicide. I'll see if I can hand it out and I'll send it to you, Rob.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole thing with Andre the Giant, he was, and I say this hand on heart, and I mean this, even as a big wrestling fan of that era with Andre and Hogan and all of that, even going into Sergeant Slaughter and all the rest of that. Yeah. He was exploited by WWE, and I believe Carly probably in the same sort of way, exploited by WWE in the same way that P.T. Barnum and the Ringling Brothers with the circus used to exploit their the characters that they used to use, the Giants and Tom Thumb and all the rest of it. I believe that in the same way that Barnum and Bailey basically abused and basically disrespected their miscreants, if you will, they embarrassed Andre the Giant and used him and basically exploited him in the same way because of his size. And let's be honest, if you documentary about the Princess Diaries, is that the film that he was in?
It was is it the Princess Diaries? He played Fezzik.
Yes, he plays the muscle,
the giant.
He wasn't exactly overly intelligent. He was actually, because of obviously what was wrong with the gigantism. Let's not fuck about. He wasn't exactly overly intelligent either, and he was massively exploited.
He could drink though.
Oh, could
he? You heard the story? Have you ever heard the story? Again, this was on the Joe Rogan interview that he got with Jake Roberts. You ever heard the story about Jake Roberts and the 48 cans of beer, and they were driving for a couple of hours, and he polished off 48 cans of lager, and the bone of contention that Jake Roberts had, he said he had 48 cans of lager and he didn't need to have a piss.
Yeah. The Geese is a monster. The Geese is a monster. I mean, Jazz's comment there about The Undertaker, I watched that live and I remember shitting myself at this guy coming out. Jesus Christ, you've never seen anything like it. Never seen anything like it. And yes, Sharky, the thing with WWE over Owen Hart, I think they listen, WWE are unscrupulous. They're fucking. I know Triple H is going to try and take them in a new direction. I think Triple H is going to be the better option than Vince. I think Vince is just an absolute cocksucker. He's a fucking horrible human being. I love them. Brilliant. But Vince is just a horrible
Vince is
human
a businessman.
being. But he's not, Rob. He's a vindictive prick. Did you hear about what happened with CM Punk. You know, CM Punk said he wanted to leave and everything else. He received his contract termination papers on the day of his wedding.
Yes, he was got married to AJ Lee, didn't he?
Yes, and he received those termination papers the morning of what was supposed to be the greatest day of his life. Vince is a vindictive prick and an awful fucking human being. Awful human being.
He's a fantastic businessman. You can't deny that.
I think he is the equivalent. He's the wrestling world's equivalent of Roman Abramovich. He went and got all the top talent to make everyone else shit. And then when they realised that life wasn't as good under that blue umbrella or the WWE banner, they fucked off. And you only have to look now at, is it AEW and what's the one that Jeff Jarrett started? Kurt Angle's. I think there's
Impact.
There's like 7 or 8 former WWE wrestlers that have now gone and created their own, their own franchises, if you will. So, like you say, TNA and Impact and
AEW
and all the rest of it. And the big names are now jumping ship. And the second that they're walking out of WWE, I think Paul or Becca will be able to corroborate this because they know their wrestling. That they're signed to a non-disclosure agreement when they do leave, that they cannot talk badly about WWE. But and a lot of them won't want to because they don't want to burn those bridges if it means going back to big time.
Like Cody Rhodes.
Like Cody Rhodes. A lot of them are turning around and going, nah, fuck it. They're not the big fish in this pond anymore. There are other fish that are becoming bigger and bigger, and we don't have to rely on that being our only exposure. And they're sticking 2 fingers up at Vince. And Triple H at the moment is trying to reconcile a lot of that problem because he realizes that Vince has caused a hell of a lot of problems to WWE, a hell of a lot of issues. That's nice to know that we're still a West Ham channel. Thanks, Rob.
Do you know, just to get back to, before we do, obviously you was at the game yesterday, and I had this conversation with Lucas, who's obviously over from Washington, DC, from the American Hammers, and I took him to Kelly's and the Bowman Road in Bow, and he had his first pie mash and liquor, ladies and gentlemen, all the way from the States, and he enjoyed it. At least he told me he enjoyed it. Put it this way, he afterwards he had apple crumble and custard, which was very nice. And I made the point to I made the point to Lucas. I said, because he turned around and said, "Oh, the 23s are playing at London Stadium." I was like, "Really?" And I turned around and said, "I bet you any money I don't hear a word from over the public address system publicizing this fact." And did you hear anything? Because I didn't.
No, I'll be honest with you. I only flicked through the program as well, just quickly, as you do when you go to your seat. It's not like I say it's
WrestleMania.
That's love a Rumble though.
Rumble's good.
I do love a Rumble,
You
and I love
Survivor
a Rumble
Series.
I love a Rumble when you have the old wrestlers come down. A couple of years ago, it was the Honky Tonk Man. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like, behave yourself. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat rocked up one year.
I saw his son wrestle.
Yeah.
What was his name? Was it? I think he wrestled under Richard Steamboat or something like that.
And just quickly go back to the injuries and stuff. Did Becca will know this? Rey Mysterio killed a man in Lucha Libre back in Mexico within the last 4 or 5 years. He did his 619, and I think he got it wrong. And if my memory serves, he either broke his neck or he put his nose up into his head. And yeah, there you go. Yeah, it says it there. Look, he actually killed a man.
Obviously not intentional. But...
No, definitely not. No, and this shit happens. But no, I do like a Rumble, but I have to say, WrestleMania just for the pomp and circumstance. And I watched a video the other day of when it was The Rock, Stone Cold, and Hulk Hogan hosting, and Hogan kept getting.
That was WrestleMania 30.
Yeah, he kept getting the. He kept saying the silver dome, didn't he, or whatever it was. Fucking
where
idiot.
he slammed Andre.
Yeah. But no, back to the game. Yeah. I didn't hear nothing. I didn't see nothing.
I think that's really.
I don't even think there's been any big. I'll have to go back and check. It's quite easily done. Just go back through the West Ham profile on Twitter and stuff. I don't even think I've seen anything come up on my Twitter feed that they're at the London Stadium tonight for the game. Which
crap.
Is a bit shitty, isn't it? Really, when you.
I think that's really poor. You know. But anyway, shall we leave it there, my friend?
Yeah, we've done a bit of everything tonight, and we quite like it.
Yeah, it's all good. Right, Duke. We'll finish as we usually do. What are we, my friend?
We are fucking massive, Robert. Massive.
Come on, you irons.